we will make the playoffs in 2014. So there you guys go. 2014 we'll be there.
I don't know
Basically.
if I can wait that long.
Pre-game draft coverage 2014, and we will get right down to business. The big news, the big trade in the first round, moving up to the 4th pick to pick up Sammy Watkins. Jared, what's your initial reaction?
I had 2 initial reactions. My first was, yes, we got an awesome player. No, we lost our next year's first round draft pick. But as the night continued, I found a positive and a negative spin on both of those aspects. First off, negative aspects on Sammy Watkins. I can't believe we're starting off with that because he's a dynamic player, but they keep on talking about how awesome he is with speed, and like then it just reminds me of Roscoe Parrish. It reminds me of TJ Graham when they talk like that, and it's just like, no. As long as they use him as a dynamic number 1 wideout, he's going to be just fine. Obviously, we lost Stevie. We traded him to San Francisco, and a lot of people are saying, hey, we traded our proven number 1 receiver. Now we have this question mark. I don't buy into that at all. He was a dynamic top 5 choice for a reason. I believe in the top 5 of this year's draft, and I think he's going to be a great player for the Buffalo Bills for years to come. Now, as for the trading next year's first away, I look back at history of when we've done that, and each year we've done that, we've had a really good season. In 2004, we traded away our first round pick in 2005 for J.P. Losman, and we went 9-7 that year. 2 years before that, we traded away our first round pick for Drew Bledsoe, and that year we went 8-8. Not that great, but out of all the seasons we've had since the playoffs, those were our 2 best seasons.
9-7, 8-8. That's what we're keeping an eye on the prize for.
Right, but here's the thing, and I don't know how you're going to combat this one. You are always about, we have to lose next year. You can't say that now.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
can't.
You got to hope for this year, and I think that was the mistake that was made by the Bills leadership, is that they are seeing an ownership change and their job's on the line if they don't get results immediately. Mm-hmm. And so they did what they had to do to get results immediately. And I don't think that, and by any means, the decision they made is what's the best for the franchise going on 5 years. No matter what Whaley is, what job he holds in 5 years, I'm still a Bills fan. Right. I still have to suffer the consequences of his actions, whether he has a job or he doesn't. And I hard pressed to believe that trading away the future for Sammy Watkins is the best thing for the team long term. If we were a team that was on the cusp of the Super Bowl, or even the cusp of the playoffs, and we were 1 player away from making that big jump, I'd say, yeah, like this is the right thing to do. But we were not on the cusp of the Super Bowl. We weren't even on the cusp of the playoffs. We are looking that we need to build our team more to be a contender long term. I think I've been saying this for a couple of years now, that we might be setting ourselves up for a run that doesn't quite make it to the Super Bowl. We could be the Cincinnati Bengals under Carson Palmer, where we get close, but I don't think we're going to be able to make it over the top. And I think this move guaranteed that we are going to have the players to get better to make it in the playoffs, but I do not think we're building a Super Bowl team here in Buffalo.
So you don't care if we do better or become a playoff franchise?
Oh, I'm super excited we are a playoff franchise, especially if we win the division. We have home playoff games here in Buffalo. There's excitement around the city. There's buzz. I love it when the Bills are good, but I think we shortchanged our future for the security of jobs of the men who hold their place now.
Well, time will tell.
Time will tell. 3 years from now, we can start really evaluating this draft.
Okay.
Moving on to the second round, the Bills trade with the Rams again, second season in a row, to move down, and we pick up?
We picked up Cyrus Kouandjio.
And your feelings on Cyrus?
Despite what ESPN said, I actually really liked the pick. We wanted to go into this draft filling in that hole in the right tackle position, and I think with Cyrus Kouandjio we did it. He was the starting left tackle for Alabama for pretty much their run, and I think if you look at the tape, if you really analyze the tape, he looks pretty good. Yes, he does have some issue with speed. Yes, he does have some issue getting off the ball and protecting in pass rushing situations. But I think with with a decent amount of work for the guy, I think he's just going to be fine. And I think he's better than Pears. I think he's better than even Hairston with his injury. So I am all for the pick. I was hoping for it during the second round, and I'm all for it.
Big guy, he's huge. All of the linemen that we drafted were really big players, and it must really stick in AJ McCarron's craw watching like the big uglies in front of him go so far ahead of him in the draft. Finally, in the third round, the Bills hold the draft pick that they went into the day with, and they use their own pick in the third round, and they pick up?
They picked up Preston Brown. Now, I really feel that he's more of a future pick. I'm not saying he's not good because I looked at his tape and I think he is really good. He's a very intelligent inside linebacker. He waits back to see what the quarterback's going to do. He knows when to rush at the running back. He knows when to sit back and wait. And that's perfect intangibles you're looking for with an inside linebacker because that needs to be your guy controlling the defense. I think this season, though, I think Brandon Spikes is still our guy, and Preston Brown's just going to sit back and learn from Brandon Spikes. But I think he'll be in on third downs, things like that. I think he'll find some ways to contribute. Yeah,
another huge player can learn for a season behind Spikes. This probably does not bode well for Spikes' future in the Bills after this season, barring an outstanding performance.
Yeah.
Moving into the fourth round with the departure of Bird this season, we have holes to fill in the defensive backfield, and the Bills pick up
Ross Cockrell.
And your feelings on Ross?
I think it was definitely a BPA pick. At that time, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of looking at the running back situations, and I was like, this might be a nice opportunity to get a running back. We didn't go that route, but that's okay. With this guy, I think what's good about him is that even though he's a cornerback, if he has the possibility to move into safety, and I think that's really where we're looking, because I think with cornerback we're okay. If we were able to develop him into a safety, he could be a potential future strong safety for us. I mean, Searcy I'm not really sold on, so I'd like to see if he can become a safety for us.
And the Bills also figuring that they need to address the running back situation with both players headed towards free agency.
Yeah.
They make a trade with the Eagles, and we pick up Bryce Brown. Now, not a draft at all, but how do you think Bryce compares to the other running backs that were available at the same, like had the Bills gone with the running back in the fourth round? How does Bryce compare to the talent they would have picked up then?
You know what, I'm not going to lie, I really would have preferred if we had just drafted someone, to be honest, and not give up the fourth rounder for next year. I mean, I think it would have been nicer to hold on to that pick. So I'm not really thrilled that we made a trade.
You're assuming that you're not going to have a low pick, you're going to have a higher pick, but in the fourth round.
Well, fourth round. I just prefer to have more picks next year, to be honest. But with Bryce Brown, I mean, he was the backup for Losman McCoy, and when he did play, he did good, and that's very good to see. He had
a pair of games where he had like 170 yards back to back.
Yeah, very good. Except he's more of a East-West player. His North and South game's not that awesome, so
maybe he and CJ Spiller can learn
to help
parallel.
Yeah, maybe. But I do agree, though. I really do think Freddie's going to be gone in a couple of years. CJ, I highly doubt we'll re-sign him, unfortunately. So I think that's.
Or if he'd want to re-sign here.
Exactly where I'm going. So I'm thinking that Bryce Brown really will be the future for the running backs, regardless of personal feelings.
And we're headed into the fifth round now, and the Bills pick up.
At the fifth round, we picked up Cyril Richardson, a guard, and he was actually projected to go in the third round. So I'm not sure he's going to come in and start. We have Chris Williams. We picked up in free agency, and I think he will be our starting left guard. But this is a great depth player, and let's face it, someone's going to get injured this season. It's going to happen. So I can easily see him coming in, learning the offensive schemes, and filling in the line. I don't think he'll be the starter. I think Chris Williams will have it, but he is a great pickup for us, and he can easily start.
With no picks in the sixth round, that leaves 2 for the Bills in the seventh round. What kind of talent did we find? Any diamonds in the rough here in the seventh round for the Bills?
Possibly. We picked up Randell Johnson, linebacker. I basically see him as being another Chris White, someone to play on our special teams, someone to be in our linebacker depth. Nothing really special, but hey, at least we went for linebacker. I can't really complain about that. With Seantrel Henderson, now that's a completely different story because he was projected to be a first-round right tackle talent. And the fact that we got him in the seventh round is pretty impressive. But of course, why did we get him into the seventh round? Because he has massive off-field issues. He was suspended 3 times. He quit during his pro day twice. I don't know how you do that. I mean, I just don't want to do
Or
this.
who
guys.
talked you back into it twice?
Like, yeah, I mean, that's just pathetic, honestly. So, we'll really see what happens with him. I don't think the future's looking too bright just based on his stuff, but you never know. I mean, you never know, and worst case scenario, we cut him. Honestly, it's not really a big deal, but best case scenario, he might actually grow into a starting tackle for us, and I think that's very impressive.
So busy weekend for the Bills front office, lots of trades with drafts. What do you grade them? What grade did they earn in your eyes?
Believe it or not, this is the highest grade I've ever given, A-. And the reason for that is we were alive during draft day. Buddy would just sit back there and be like, you know what, we're just going to pick when we pick them.
We're like, we'll just pick them when we get.
Yeah, that was Buddy, and it was just like, it was predictable, it was monotonous, but we were alive. We were trading. We were being noticed, and I know that's not what it's all about. I mean, the Browns get noticed, but they're just
Looks like they
throwing
robbed
lunches
us.
at the wall. Yeah. I wouldn't say they robbed us. With what they got, yeah. But I mean, with what they ended up picking, Justin Gilbert, I was just like, oh man. After all that stuff, you go with Justin Gilbert. Yeah, they got Manziel in the end, but at number 22, and if you look up that record of the picking quarterbacks and 22 overall, not a very good list there. So
it's more of a coincidence thing than like the performance at 22. I'd give the Bills also probably my highest score. I'm gonna give them a solid B.
A B.
They addressed concerns on the line and the defensive backfield. We needed a first wide receiver. I said that for a while now, and I don't miss Stevie at all in terms of a trade.
Yeah, I figured you did.
So they put it all on the table this season or bust, really. We'll be back for the preseason at some point in evaluating how these players look on the field, and until then, go Bills, we can't wait.
Definitely. Randy's mom's here.